Anyway, these are two of my favorite instruments on the kit. Yeah, this over here, these are the chinas. So we've got the omnis, we've got the swishes, and we've got the chinas. This one over here is the 19-inch Paragon Brilliant China cymbal. And this one over here is actually a custom 22-inch version of the 19-inch Paragon. This was, in fact, the first custom cymbal I ever got from Sabian. And absolutely love it. Yeah, anyway. So these cymbals, the whole Paragon line was originally designed for Neil Peart. He was one of my favorite drummers growing up, and still is one of my favorite drummers. And so when I was first really starting to pay attention to gear and to really starting to get into the idea of designing my own drum set, collecting a series of instruments that I could call my own. These were the Paragons were the first thing I gravitated towards, just because he made them sound so cool, and so I wanted to see if I could do similarly. And so this 19-inch cymbal was designed to replace he always used a Wuhan china, and so this was designed to replace his Wuhan china. And the thing I like about it, as opposed to, there are a lot of China cymbals that are out on the market. The thing I like about the 19-inch is that it's despite the fact that it's a China and it's very loud and I've heard people describe China cymbals as being an exclamation point, which I completely agree with. Despite the fact that it is very much an exclamation point, the thing I like about it is it's still a musical sound. I describe the sound as having this kind of teardrop shape to it. So you hit it, and the first thing that happens is it spreads out. So the actual kind of peak of the sound is right after you've hit it, and then it decays out from there. So it does have this very teardrop kind of sound to it, and as you can hear. Now, that might not sound very teardroppy to you, but if I compare it with the 20-inch Paragon right next to it, to me, the 20-inch Paragon attack is instantaneous, and then it decays after that. The 19 attacks a little bit more slowly, and then decays. So it's still a very musical sound. It's very trashy. It's very raw. It's got a lot of, it's such a fun sound. It gives you the stank face just listening to it. And the 22-inch is, it's the exact same thing, only it's got 3 more inches. It's just, I love that sound so much. And so, these cymbals, it's probably pretty, if you've watched some of the other videos, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think, how these cymbals get used. For example, in the In Fierce song, All For You, the very first thing the drums do is they have these accents. And I played the accents just, they're all unison between my 2 hands and the bass drum. And they're all crashes. So I played the accents on the AX Omni and the Diamondback, and then the HHX Omni and the Crescent. And then when it came to the very last accent, the downbeat of the next section, I wanted to, it made sense to my brain that I should have a sound that's different and dynamically higher. So that's when I hit these. So the last accent is on the chinas. and it adds a nice sound. So that's, I mean, that primarily that's the use. They're mainly crash cymbals, but they also, as you saw when I was playing at the beginning, they also can make really nice ride cymbals. And I have actually gone to jam sessions. I've even done one or two recording sessions where the main ride cymbal that I was using was actually a China. Again, we mentioned this with the switches, that the Chinas, because they roar a little bit more than a ride cymbal, they can really grab the music from underneath and move it along. And so especially slow tempo, like when I was playing at the beginning, I was kind of demonstrating, or trying to demonstrate anyway, that if you have a slow tempo, you can really create a lot of air with a China cymbal. And I mean, that's, you know, I think that's primarily why if you're in a metal band or you're listening to metal music, when it gets to the really heavy breakdown, they're playing on a China, because you can create that air underneath of the sound. So in terms of these cymbals, the only time that I really use them as rides is in the Herd of Bison song, The Summons. I use the 22-inch in the, we call it the D-flat minor riff, because that's what that riff is, even though technically it's D-flat Phrygian, but anyway. And the reason for that was just simply, you know, that whole song, I had already used the omnis, the swishes. I had already used those as ride cymbals during the Nomad, and I was trying to make the Summons substantively different, ride cymbal-wise. So I started with the Vanguard and the Complex Thin, and then there was this third riff that I needed another cymbal sound, and so this was one that I hadn't used yet. So I went with that, and then right after that section comes the chorus of that song, and that was as close as Herd has ever gotten to actually writing a metal like a metal section. It's got a double bass drum pattern that's nice and heavy. On top of it, the China's going. It's this very halftime kind of metal feel. So those two sections would sound like. Anyway, here's what that sounds like, A, with the music, and B, without me forgetting what comes next.